This is Matthew Cratter from Bitcoin University, and today I wanted to talk about a few smoking guns for XRP, Cardano, and ETH. And I also want to argue why Ripple has a very good chance of losing when the SEC appeals this case. So there's been a lot of excitement over the judge's ruling in the past few days. Lots of ignorant people on Twitter, especially from the XRP army, saying that the judge found that XRP is not a security. And this is absolutely not true. I want to emphasize this. And it seems like members of the XRP army are just too lazy to actually sit down and read a judge's ruling. When you actually look into it, the judge found that Ripple did indeed violate U.S. securities law when it sold $728 million worth of unregistered securities, its token XRP, to institutional investors. Ripple will almost certainly appeal this decision, but if it loses the appeal, as it should, it will need to come up with $728 million worth of money to pay those investors back, plus fines. And it's probably in the process of raising some of that money right now by continuing to dump XRP tokens on the XRP army, and it will need to continue to dump on retail investors as it has been doing for years. So if you're a member of the XRP army, if you're an XRP holder and you're expecting XRP to moon from here, you might actually be quite disappointed because insiders will need to keep selling to pay back this money plus fines. Also, a little known fact that is overlooked is that the judge did determine that Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larsen, two major executives there, will need to stand trial to ascertain whether they knew they were breaking securities law. And as we're going to see, they almost certainly did. There's some good smoking guns. So I would expect even more XRP dumping as they prepare to disgorge their illegal and unethical profits. If you want to take a look at where this is in the court ruling, if some member of the XRP army is asking you, we can see here from I'll link to this in the description notes below. The court has already held that Ripple's institutional sales constitute the unregistered offer and sale of investment contracts in violation of Section 5 of the Securities Act. Now, the judge also found wrongly, in my opinion, that dumping XRP tokens on retail investors did not violate securities law. This is a typical American court's ruling, especially when it comes to the area of finance and banking. Always do what's best for the rich and screw the little guy. This is the same thing that happened in the wake of the great financial crisis when not a single U.S. bank executive went to jail. I don't think any bank executives went to jail globally. I believe there was one in Iceland, but basically bankers always get out of jail free. This finding will almost certainly be overturned in an appeal, though, the fact that XRP dumped on retail. If you enjoyed this video so far, I just ask you to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and leave a comment. Now, here's why this finding of dumping, Ripple dumping on retail investors will almost certainly be overturned in an appeal. And in order to understand it, we have to briefly review the Howie Test, which is a test of whether something is an investment contract, an investment of money in a common enterprise with reasonable expectation of profits to be derived from the efforts of others. And these are the 4 prongs, and they're what really matters rather than the structure or the facade of what is being offered. So if you pass the Howie Test, you are an investment contract and are thus subject to U.S. securities law, including the laws surrounding the issuance and marketing of your securities. And so here's the really important question when we consider the XRP, the Ripple case in the context of the Howie Test, as well as some of the other major cryptocurrencies. Did the majority of retail buyers of XRP have the reasonable expectation of profits derived from the efforts of others? This is a direct application of the Howie Test. And the direct efforts of others would be Ripple, the corporation. And I say absolutely yes, the majority of retail buyers of XRP knew this. Now, we can see a different form of the Howie Test, sort of a compressed form in that U.S. court filing, where the judge found that you need to have a reasonable expectation of profits to be derived from the entrepreneurial or managerial efforts of others. This is another way of restating the Howie Test. But when we look at how commenters, even in my YouTube comments, members of the XRP army, thought about XRP and its relationship to Ripple, you'll see that all of them understood that Ripple was basically pumping XRP. Here's something from Cole71 2 years ago. How many partnerships does Bitcoin Lightning Network have compared to Ripple XRP? Completely missing the point that the Lightning Network and Bitcoin base layer as well are not controlled by a small group of insiders, unlike Ripple XRP. But here's a clear understanding that Ripple will pump XRP. As well as this comment, the partnerships Ripple has made within the current banking infrastructure are what will drive its utility in the new QFS. as well as this comment from Brendan Gobo. The fact that Ripple controls XRP is not necessarily a bad thing. It's a company with a product and mature leadership, blah, blah, blah. Also down here, Ripple is a legitimate company with a product that they are actively developing. This commenter clearly understands and has a reasonable expectation of profits to be derived from the efforts of Ripple itself. I also want to look at a couple of the court documents. This one was an email from Monica Long at Ripple to Brad Garlinghouse, basically saying it's time to do the heavy lifting of building momentum for XRP. In other words, the parent company pumping XRP by marking it. This is quite a damning document, and it's already been filed with the court. And if we scroll down, we can see some of the emphasis. They want to dominate the enterprise blockchain conversation, own blockchain for enterprises, etc. And then here's the real smoking gun. They want to generate speculative interest in XRP. This is a parent company showing that they had, through their efforts, they can pump this token. And this clearly means that XRP, when it comes to retail sales as well, qualifies as an investment contract and thus was offered as an unregistered security. Generate speculative interest in XRP, debunk FUD related to supply and decentralization. Well, of course, the whole thing's centralized. Show off technical superiority, key events, consensus, blockchain expo, build an activated network of XRP influencers. This is another very clear case of why buyers of XRP had a reasonable expectation of profits to be derived from the entrepreneurial or managerial efforts of others. And so Brad Garlinghouse is going to have a lot of trouble, especially when the court sees this email and the SEC brings this up in their appeal, saying that they were not aware that Ripple was pumping XRP. This is from thecourtlistener.com. I'll link to this in the description notes below. And a special thanks goes out to Satoshi's pet, at PetSatoshi on Twitter. Please give him or her a follow for helping dig up really cool stuff like this about XRP. And we can apply these same criteria of the Howie Test to other unregistered securities like ADA. We could ask the question, do most Cardano ADA holders know that it's the efforts of IOHK and the Cardano Foundation that will pump ADA? Absolutely yes, because these crypto projects, they always brag about how great their team is. And you see this even on Reddit here a couple years ago at the Cardano section of Reddit. Just went through the whole list of team members behind Cardano. Wow, there's actually a team behind it. It's not a neutral currency from IOHK and Emergo. It's just rockstar after rockstar. Invest in the team, not the idea. So here's another example of a retail investor who understood that it was the efforts of others that would lead them to have a reasonable expectation of profits. The other weird thing about Cardano, of course, as we've talked about in the past, is it has a CEO, at least a CEO who of IOG, and he always has this roadmap, and so he progressively reveals more and more of it. Hoskinson reveals future roadmap. Cardano founder discusses roadmap till 2025. This is not what a neutral commodity looks like. This is clearly an investment contract that has a roadmap, and we have the reasonable expectation of profits based on the efforts of others here. So here's the Cardano roadmap from their website itself. Lots of good material for the SEC here. We can ask the same question about Ethereum. Do most Ethereum holders know that it's the efforts of the Ethereum Foundation, Vitalik Buterin, Consensus, and Joe Lubin that will pump ETH? Absolutely yes. And we have the same situation here where Vitalik is posting the roadmap for Ethereum on Twitter, and we can see what a mess it is. The merge, the surge, the scourge, the verge, the purge, and the splurge. Super weird as everything is with Ethereum, and super complicated and given to breaking, certainly. And if we compare this to commodities, we have a roadmap for Cardano, we have a roadmap for XRP, we have a roadmap for Ethereum. What's the roadmap for crude oil? Who controls crude oil and decides on the issuance? What's the roadmap for corn? What's the roadmap for gold? The clear answer is these don't have roadmaps because they're commodities without a corporate issuer. Likewise, Bitcoin is a digital commodity without a corporate issuer or a clear roadmap. It's a complete mess of lots of competing interests, and this is because there's no one that controls Bitcoin, unlike Cardano, which is controlled by the lead dev, and Ethereum, which is controlled by the lead dev, and XRP, which controls the price of XRP as well to a certain extent, as Brad Garlinghouse has even admitted in interviews. If you have a roadmap, you probably pass the Howie test, which is not a good thing in this case. So we've looked at all these examples of why retail investors would have had the reasonable expectation of profits to be derived from the entrepreneurial or managerial efforts of others. And this is why an appeals court will almost certainly overturn this recent Ripple decision when it comes to the programmatic sales of XRP, in other words, dumping it on retail investors. So if you're holding XRP, I don't think it's going to be a very pretty sight in the coming years. And the other thing to remember in all of your joy over the Ripple ruling, I'm addressing the XRP army here, don't forget that investing in shipcoins and altcoins like XRP and Cardano is also hazardous to your wealth. If we take a look at returns over the past 5 years, it makes you wonder why the XRP people are rejoicing at all, because they even underperformed Cardano. We can see over the past 5 years that Bitcoin is up over 300%, and Cardano is up only 86%, and XRP is a laggard, as always, up only 68%. And this is over 5 years, so a significant period of time. So shipcoins, altcoins are great and very profitable if you are the unethical person who is dumping them on retail, as Ripple did, but they're actually a financial disaster if you're on the receiving end, like the XRP army and the Cardano army and the Ethereum community. And we're going to see in every cycle that shipcoiners will continue to get poorer relative to Bitcoiners. This is what you see right here. You see Bitcoiners massively outperforming these altcoins. And this is a good thing that shipcoiners will continue to get poorer relative to Bitcoiners, because for the most part, these are lazy people who are unwilling to put in the proof of work. They'll end up making the wrong decisions as a result, and they will get left behind. Now, I honestly hope that this doesn't happen to you if you're one of my shipcoin listeners. I think you actually deserve better as a human being, especially if you watch this video so far. So I would say it's not too late to turn your life around, abandon these shipcoin scammers, and get on the Bitcoin team. You deserve to be much better than just being the toilets where Hoskinson and the Ripple guys take their daily dump and offload their tokens on you as their exit liquidity. So if you like winning, it's time to get on the Bitcoin team. Otherwise, you're going to have another 5 years that looks like this, where you get massively poorer relative to Bitcoiners who've been willing to put in the proof of work. A final note, in this new regulatory environment, I think it's actually quite dangerous to be betting that shipcoins will outperform BTC, outperform Bitcoin in the coming bull market. And this is because markets have a way of adapting and changing to hurt the most people possible. So I would suggest don't try trading altcoins to get more Bitcoin. That never works, especially when you have to pay all of those short-term capital gains taxes. And in my comment sections of the videos over the past few years, you can see hundreds, if not thousands, of people who lost everything trying to trade Solana, Hex, etc., posting their Bitcoin on Celsius or BlockFi or Voyager or Gemini Earn to try to earn some yield or some return that they could use to buy more Bitcoin. And they ended up losing everything, in the case certainly of BlockFi and Celsius, etc. So don't do that. Don't try to trade bananas to try to get a gold nugget. Just buy the gold nugget directly and hodl it. And of course, Bitcoin is much better than physical gold. It's digital gold that can be zapped anywhere. It's easier to store, etc. Also, don't give your Bitcoin to the next cycle's BlockFi or Gemini Earn or Voyager or Celsius to try to earn extra yield. There'll always be these temptations, but if you want to hold on for the long term, you need to resist them. This also never works, trying to earn yield in a way where someone else is holding your private keys. So instead, I would echo Matt Odell and say stay humble and stack sats. Just keep dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin. Not investment advice, but when you've done your research, you'll see that that is the only rational way to profit from the Bitcoin revolution. And also withdraw your Bitcoin from the exchanges, hold it on a hardware wallet like the Blockstream Jade or the Cold Card. And just don't try to get fancy doing other things, trading alts to try to get more Bitcoin, or you'll end up getting wrecked. Much better just to stay humble and stack sats. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit that subscribe and like button. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I publish my next video. And let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.